Yeah, I think we are live now. And hi again, everyone. Welcome again in a great live webinar by Adaptive team and the REPLUG team. Um, Today, we're going to talk about really fresh App Store optimization tactics from a real expert, our friends from REPLUG, Luca, and I'll be talking about selected apps from our audience, sign up forms, and we'll try to give some actionable feedback to you with latest trends on the App Store. And by the way, this session will be recorded. We'll send you all of the recording after the webinar. If you are late or if you wanna leave early, you can get the recording via your email. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask your questions on the chat section below. Feel free to ask anything to me and our guest, Luca. And also after the webinar, the live audit, we'll have a Q&A session and you'll be able to ask your questions again. And let me introduce my amazing guest today, Luca Mosoroko from REPLUG team. Luca, would you like to introduce yourself to our audience?
Sure. Hi, Murad. Thanks a lot. Hi. As you mentioned, I am one of the founders at REPLUG. I've been working in the ad tech space for the past 14 years now and founded REPLUG in 2020, so roughly 5 years ago. If you don't know REPLUG, we are a mobile app marketing agency. We help brands and startups, scale-ups who have mobile apps launch, scale, and optimize their app marketing activities through different areas, starting from consulting part, tracking, subscription optimization, and then, of course, App Store optimization, which is a big part of what we do, and then also paid acquisition on traditional channels as well as alternative channels, we call them. So anything outside the big channels. Yeah. And
Yeah,
I'm very
that's
excited
great.
to be here. Thanks a lot, Murat.
Yeah, thanks for coming and your time. As I mentioned, we'll review 3 apps. We'll check their product page and we'll give some comments and feedbacks how we can improve their App Store pages for ASO. Um, you know, a lot of things are changing in the App Store. We really don't know the algorithm in the App Store, but we have some knowledge. And your 14th year now, it's really too much in in the mobile app space. And if you're ready and our audience is ready, maybe we can start
Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
with sharing. Yeah.
So, as you mentioned, I think everybody knows we chose 3 apps after we asked the audience to share their mobile apps. What we will do is we will look at the storefront. I will share my screen. I have the app storefront here open, as well as the tool, a tool that we use for App Store optimization. I promise that we are not doing any promotion to the tool. I just can't hide the name. But the idea of this session is basically, as Murat was saying, to analyze the storefront, take a look at the main aspects of App Store optimization, see what works, what doesn't work for the apps that we analyze, and of course, give actionable insights and advices. I guess, as everybody knows, is familiar with App Store optimization, there's no one strategy that fits all, but we try to be also as generic as possible so that everybody listening can also take some notes for their own apps.
Yeah, and can I ask you one
Absolutely.
question before we start? What is the first thing that you open an app product page, and what is the first thing that you checked? Let's say as an expert, the screenshots or the keywords or app icon.
Yeah, that's a very good question. I think the first thing that's usually where my eyes usually goes is the screenshot. The image is the is what really drives conversion. That's what kind of gets my eyes immediately. And then I look at the title. That's what I'm looking. But of course, when I do the analysis, I'm looking at the app from my laptop, so it's a very different view from what users might see on the phone, right?
Yeah. It's also a great point. Users, when they are checking the App Store, they will just see the first screenshots.
Right.
It's also really important. If they click on the app, they'll see the other screenshots, and maybe there's a
Correct.
good point to mention here.
Correct. And that's one of the things that we really because you see, I think the first three screenshot only in the search page, while when you click on it, you predominantly see the first screenshot. And that's where, we really put a lot of effort when we do the optimization for our clients. That first impact, like how to get the attention of the user and make sure that they actually convert, right? And we see sometimes some mistakes, some small things that can be improved. But I digress sometimes. Let's maybe focus first on this, and then we can then discuss more generic questions. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So the first app that we chose in the list is this chatbot AI assistant sphere. I'm not sure if the person that shared with us the app is here with us today. But what we basically see here, as I was mentioning earlier, when it comes to App Store optimization, in this specific case, we are looking exclusively at App Store, so the iOS version of the storefront. We have not checked the Android, just for the time that we have. And we are also looking at the US storefront. Okay, so that's because we think that makes the most sense. Now, when we look at the elements of the page or the storefront, we predominantly look at title, subtitle, and then the screenshot. When we work with partners, we also check other things, like for example, the keyword field, but the keyword field is not publicly available. So I don't know what keywords were used in the specific instances. But those four things are the main elements that we kind of take a look at. And then of course we kind of try to find ways to optimize. Sorry, I just opened the chat because I saw someone wrote. So I was checking the conversation. But basically what we have, you see here, I have my tool open. Yeah, so where we kind of have a look on the store page, some data that we get from the tool, and of course also the keyword used. Now let's stay here for a moment, so that we can see what we noticed. Yeah, so the first thing, when it comes to App Store optimization, as I was mentioning earlier, we optimize both the textual metadata, so titles, description, keyword field, as well as the visual metadata, so icons, screenshots, videos, when there is. We start from the keyword, just that's because probably the most interesting one, from a pure reach volume. So how to optimize the storefront so that it reaches more users. I mean, we can see when we look at these elements, we can see, of course, that there has been some level of work. We don't know, of course, to what extent the person that shared this app with us has knowledge of ASO or has used tool for it. But we see that they're using specific keywords and combination of terms that are good from an App Store optimization perspective. Now, let's take a look at the title. Yeah, the title is the most important part when it comes to textual metadata, because first of all, it's what most users check, and then because it has the let's say the heaviest contribution from a keyword perspective when the algorithm analyzes the different type of keywords added to the storefront. In this specific case, we see that chatbot AI is a very good keyword, or let's say chatbot and AI, very good keywords. And then we see that there is, of course, the branding addition, that is Assistant Sphere, which I assume is the name of the brand or the app itself. I guess that's the brand name. Yeah. Now, we again, this is a very specific case. This looks to us, looking at the data that we have available, of course, like an app that has some traction, but it's not massive brand, it's not big in terms of downloads. Predominantly, we're looking at these factors. I think is visible is like 50 rating, so we know that it's not like massive app, at least from the data that we see. So one of the suggestions that immediately comes to mind is if you are, or if you have a newly launched app, or maybe you are, let's say, still an indie developer trying to break through with ASO activities, it might make sense to actually drop the brand name and focus on keywords. Now, of course, I know that this is a little bit counterintuitive because many developers want to push the brand. But when we look at keywords and how they, how much volume they get, if the brand is not well known, then of course there is no volume for it. So we are basically wasting important space that could give us some organic visibility. Now, just to make it more practical, I have had some. I took some of the keywords that we found in the store, and here Assistant Sphere. That's the branding. The branding that we saw in the title, as you can see, has a volume search 5. Now, volume search is basically how often a keyword is searched. That's what it means. This value might change depending on the tool you use, but generally speaking, I mean, we use Uptweak. It's pretty like well known in the industry, and it's quite reliable in terms of data. When a keyword has volume search 5, it pretty much means that there is no volume. So meaning people are not really searching for this keyword, which again is nothing surprising because again, here the brand is not that strong. And as a matter of fact, we do rank #1, but we get pretty much 0 traffic from it. So again, this is one of the things that I would definitely test for a period of time, remove the branding component on the title, and add some specific keywords that could benefit based on the research or specific feature that we want to push. Let's move on to the subtitle. The subtitle is the second element. It is very important from an algorithm perspective. Now, there are quite a few keywords there. They're actually quite good. GPT chat, of course, image maker. Now, all these are interesting keywords and good keywords. However, when we are looking at the competitiveness of these keywords, is also probably something that we do want to take into account when we start with an app store optimization project. What I mean by that, again, always assuming that the app has limited visibility, limited branding, we don't want to necessarily go and compete with the big guys because big guys, they spend tons of money on ads. They do a lot of things. They have a lot of, awareness, organic PR, and so and whatnot. When you're an indie developer, it can be difficult to break through when there are very competitive keywords, like, for example, image maker, or AI image maker. So because here, again, sorry, I guess I forgot this, but I assume that everybody that is in the webinar knows a little bit about app store optimization. But what you have here is that what happens is title, subtitle, and keyword field, also those keywords get combined by each other. Yeah, so it's not just the combination of the keyword is not linear, but it happens also across elements. Yeah. So if you look image maker, AI image maker, this can be very, very competitive. And as a matter of fact, we have image maker, AI image maker. You can see that the reach, especially for AI image maker, is quite high, 50. So 50 is considered very good volume search. Here you can see the reach, so how often or how much a keyword has been searched. An image maker is a little bit smaller, of course, but for both of them, the app is not ranking. Yeah, and let's see if this works. But if I look into, do you still see my live search right here on the screen?
Yeah, we can see.
You will see basically which apps are optimizing for these keywords. And this is what I mean. It's like, these are the big guys. These are guys that spend a lot of money, that have a lot of branding, that, you know, they generate a lot of organic noise, so to say, that go and support their optimization. So yeah, in that sense, you know, these are extremely competitive keywords. So what we would suggest is perhaps focusing on keywords that might be considered a little bit less competitive, maybe long tail keywords, or keywords that not necessarily long tail, but have less competition, still make sense from an optimization and product perspective, and where we could potentially get traffic if we heavily optimize on it. Now, again, I don't know the keyword field for this specific app, so I don't know what are the keywords used, but let's say we want to look at, for example, a chatbot or a ChatGPT related keyword. For example, here, chatbot AI assistant, you can see that these still have a very good, decent amount of volume search, and we are already ranking for it. So we could actually double down on that. We could actually try to find ways to add more keywords in that specific direction that could support our organic visibility. Because at the end of the day, if you just do ASO, you know, ASO is not a silver bullet. It's not going to solve all your problem in terms of acquisition. But it's a great way, of course, to complement all the different activities that you do. But ASO alone is not gonna, you know, bring you to the top of the charts. So you need to take a very, let's say, strategic approach on the keywords that you choose. And by using a tool from App Store optimizations that are different, again, not necessarily Uptweak, anything out there is good, just to get an idea of what, of how much volume there is, and where the opportunities are, okay? Because that is something that definitely can help you from an organic perspective, from an organic visibility perspective. Now, here's another thing, and I think Igor in the chat actually mentioned it. There is no cross-local optimization. What does that mean? As you know, you have the US storefront. iOS specifically has a lot of cross-localization opportunities. US in more, you know, more. Where we have basically secondary languages that you can optimize and that will help with keyword indexing on the US storefront. Now, this is something that it's pretty, I mean, it's pretty basic in the sense of it's a very no cost activity that you can do, and you can push many keywords from other localized storefronts into the US storefront. So for example, we're talking about Mexico. Spanish is a big one, but there are others as well, like France, I think, 11 locale for USA. That's Igor helps me out. Now I don't remember all by heart, but I think Mexico is one, France is one. I think there's also Vietnam. Now, one of the pushback that we usually get from clients is like, hey, but my app is not live in, let's say, France or Vietnam. What's the point of doing that? I mean, again, yes, the risk is that your app shows there, and then you attract users that are not your core audience. But of course, the ultimate goal is to actually use keywords to push your US storefront. That's the ultimate goal. So, if someone in Vietnam downloads your app that only works in the States, yeah, they're gonna be upset. But you have to think, of course, in the long term, what is the opportunity growth?
Thank you, Igor. Igor
Thanks a lot.
pasted all the locals for the audience.
Saving
Thank
my
you.
life.
Yeah. I was also remembering the French, Spanish Mexico. I think it's the most popular one.
Yes, 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 yes.
Yeah, Russian, Spanish.
Yeah, yeah. I remember
Thank you.
Vietnam because we did it for a partner of ours, and they were like, "Oh, this is by Vietnam." But yeah, that's a great list. And then again, uh, it's a no-cost optimization opportunity that can lead to more keyword basically being indexed into the US storefront for iOS. Yeah. So this is again great opportunities to that's right now this app is kind of missing out. Now, the second thing that we want to look at, of course, is the screenshots, like the visual part. Now, this is what we see when we look on the store, or at least like on the web. We were also checking the timeline. So basically here on this tool, we can see what happened in the past few months, what type of changes they have done. And here I can see that they are actually running until yesterday a product page optimization test. So basically they're doing an A/B test, or in this case, ABCD test. So they have 3 variants here that they're testing. Yeah, so we are looking at this online, but there are other variants online together with the original one. Yeah, this should be up to date. Of course, it might be that the tool is not completely correct, but just again, as an idea, I would like us to kind of have a look at what we have right now, or at least what we see right now in the store, and then of course also take a look at these options. Just kind of have, I think, together, okay, how creative can support conversion rate. Now, as I was saying at the beginning, screenshots play a crucial role when it comes to conversion rate, because especially the first screenshot, because it gets most of the time the attention of the users, right? Especially if it's not a big brand, right? So you want to quickly understand, okay, what does this app does? The first screenshot is what drives most of the conversion most of the time. Now, what does it mean? Of course, we are not talking only about organic conversion rate, so the number of users that organically find your app and then download it. We're also talking about paid conversion rate, because at the end of the day, the storefront is the landing page for all your ad activities. Now, I don't know if they're running ads in this case, but again, if they were or if they are, this screenshot would support paid user acquisition activities. Now, let's take a look quickly at the screenshot. And we see, especially the first one, yeah. Now, this is pretty packed, but I think what really stands out of this screenshot is number 1, chatbot AI, which is a great claim. And it's definitely makes it understand to user what does the app do. Now, one thing, of course, that we would argue in this case is this really the number 1 chatbot AI? Or does it have 50 million plus users? Now, again, I understand the logic of this. It's marketing after all, so we want to attract users. We want to make sure that we are the number 1, that we have a lot of users. But if I am a user and I don't know this app, I'm just checking for chatbot AI apps, and I scroll. I get in there and I say, okay, cool. Oh, number 1 chatbot AI. The first thing that I'm going to do is let me check the reviews. Let me check the ratings. And what I see is that I have 50 ratings. So there is a big inconsistency in terms of, let's say, the claim and the actual user reviews or user rating, user feedback, right? So again, it's not necessarily a bad thing. Probably it's something that I would test. And as a matter of fact, they are testing it because here we see that they have different variants. But I would probably focus on something that is more around the functionalities of the app. So again, pushing those ChatGPT for like those models that the app uses to connect with the, in terms of functionalities. Yeah. And this is let's say this is again a test. Yeah, we don't know the statistics behind this, or we don't know the current conversion rate, but we would assume that having something around the feature could actually help more the app, rather than actually kind of claiming that they are the number one worldwide, globally, with 500 or what was it, 50 million users. Again, maybe I am picky because when I see someone claiming number one, I go to check the ratings and the reviews. But yeah, you see like, oh, good reviews. Just this one review here. It doesn't really, kind of create also distrust, right? Because then you're like, okay, is this a legit applications? And I'm sure it is. But again, you're kind of playing with users that don't know your brand, and you don't want to have let's say a distrust issue from the very beginning, right? So you're building a trust with a relationship with the users. Now, when it comes to the screenshots, when we look more at the other screenshots, sorry, we have some good, let's say, toppers, so like CTA here for each of the screenshots. Again, I would probably have a little bit clearer image so that it's not crammed with text. And I would probably also suggest to try here CTAs or toppers of the screenshots that are more keyword related. Yeah. Keyword related, of course, tied to the features that the app offers, rather than just like random keywords. Yeah. I think this is something that could benefit the app in terms of conversion rate.
Luca,
Yes.
we have one question. I think
Yes.
it's really good question. Video preview showing app functionality convert better than any screenshot. It's a
It's a
question
question.
from Oleg.
Question.
Yeah, Q&A. Oleg asked this question on Q&A session.
So I would say that we usually don't test video previews. So we see better conversion with screenshots.
Oh,
Again, this is a test that could be done, of course. And again, anything in marketing should be tested, check data, see what actually works and what doesn't work. We've done some tests, and we usually see better results when there is no video preview. Yeah. Also because again, not on the screen of the laptop, but rather on your phone. If you have a video preview, that's gonna take the first, let's say, space on the user phone. So the first screenshot actually slides, right? So it's not visible anymore. And with the video preview, you need to show how the user uses the app. You cannot do it, let's say, in marketing. So you cannot be like CTA, like number one app. So it needs to be more functionality. And that could actually get the users off, in sense of, I'm not gonna look at that. I want to know what this app is about, right? So it might actually have a negative impact on conversion rate. This is our experience, but again, if it is something that is available, of course, can be tested and then see how that works.
okay. Thank you.
No worries. So that's that, I would say, for this app. I was thinking again, maybe very quickly. I know I'm talking a lot on the first app, but the description This is the first description, so the long description. Now it's okay, kind of. I would again, and so from a purely from an abstract optimization perspective, long description on iOS doesn't matter because keywords are not indexed. However, again, in an optic that your brand is not known, the user might actually check the long description, and in that case, kind of makes sense to use that space to be more clear, yeah, about what the app does and what are the features are. So to kind of have like in case someone checks, also some extra points there. Yeah.
I have another question here
Please.
again. And I want to ask our audience, they feel free to ask any questions that we were checking the chat section. I saw one tweet about that Google is indexing the description text from the App Store product pages. Do you know anything about it, or it's just a rumor or something?
Google. So on Android, the long description usually is indexed. So the keywords that you put there are
No,
in.
for iOS
For
App
iOS.
Store description,
I
but maybe it's just a rumor or something.
I am not aware of that, I have to say. I mean, there was also this rumor that the keyword used on the screenshots were started to be
Yeah,
indexed.
yeah. I also saw that, but we don't have anything, any results from any A/B tests, or
Correct, correct.
I
So it's
think it's also a rumor or something. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So it's something that I mean I don't know. Again, I'm not 100% sure. But we usually don't take that into account when we're doing these things. But again, we would still suggest even that if the long description does not have an impact from a conversion rate or keyword perspective, still put some effort into it because when your brand is not super well known and if someone is checking gazillion apps, especially in a topic like chatbot AI, it makes sense to kind of stand out a little bit with the with that. And then of course, in case the algorithm is taking into account also keywords, you have a win-win situation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Any other questions or
No, we don't have, but if
yeah.
we will have, I will tell you.
Perfect. All right, so maybe we can move on to the second app. We have this app called Jono. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it well. AI photo and video editor. Once again, I'm not going to repeat what are the big let's say the elements that we check because it's the same for all of them. Here, let's say from a keyword perspective, they're actually doing a good job. Yeah, so we see that this is actually well optimized in terms of keywords, of course, especially when you look at the title. Yeah, so AI photo, video editor. I mean, this is something that's clear, gets immediately what the app is about, and combined, of course, with the screenshots that we can see afterwards. This kind of gets immediately the idea to the audience or to whoever lands on the page. What does the app does? Now, on the subtitle, on the other hand, we are not sure what was the logic of the choosing these specific keywords, but using future baby photo generator, probably some sort of trends, but not sure about it. Or it's just a fun feature, of course, to see how the baby will look like. But what we thought of is the following: is if the app made the title is about AI photo and video editor, so it's a very specific title, like very clear to the point. Subtitle, I would probably go into something that is on those lines rather than kind of drifting away from the photo and video editor and focusing on the fun aspect, which is like the baby pictures. I would probably focus on I don't know filters, AI filters, background remover, like things that are tightly related to this. Because again, what you don't, this is again our thoughts, of course. What you don't want is, cool, okay, this is a nice app, something that works, and then you read this, and you kind of get a little bit like, oh, but it's just about babies, or or can I do more with it? You know what I mean? Because also again, the first screenshot focuses on that, so it might get the audience to be a little bit like confused. So what we would suggest, once again, is to probably kind of focus on the photo and video editor features, rather than going on to the let's say very specific use case of the app. Indeed, they do have different screenshots. So if you scroll the screenshot, you can still see it. But again, if you look at the US storefront, this is the first screenshot. And again, this is how it looks like on the phone. So you can see that you have this is taking most of the screen. Yeah. Again, this is our point of view, and we would probably not necessarily focus on that when it comes to keyword optimization. We would rather have a more generic, let's call it generic, like feature-based approach, rather than going into baby photo generator, yeah, which attracts, again, very specific audience, right? I mean, I have kids. I know already how those kids will look like if they would come with my wife. I'm not gonna be so much looking into that, but I do might like to have an AI face and body editor, whatever. So that's something that could turn off sorry, the audience. Now, of course, you can, sorry, let me see if I can do this. You could, and here again, you can see the different locales. So you could use the, let's say the Mexico Spanish to see how this works. And then you could use maybe the subtitle here to push that specific keywords. But again, if the US is the main storefront or the main audience that you want to reach, we would probably focus or suggest to focus on those features rather than going very niche. Since we are here on the Mexico Spanish storefront, I think we kind of connect to what we were saying earlier. Our ASO team has a saying, like the golden rule of the ASO is to make sure that whenever you're doing cross localization, the title, and the keywords that you use on the different locales are actually not the same of what you have in the main storefront. Yeah, so that you can actually take advantage of what we were talking about before with the different indexation for the US storefront. Again, I don't know what are the keywords that I use in the keyword field, but again, these are kind of what we can see here. Now, when it comes to, so these are the from the keyword perspective, like just the kind of the main thing. When it comes to the creative part, a couple of things this time. So we don't want to just focus on the screenshots. We also want to take a look at the icon, since there is an icon here. Now this is a very nice logo. What could make sense? I mean, again, this logo, it's branding. What could make sense is to have maybe something that is more eye-catching, so to say, and related to what the app does. Again, a test to see, because we are talking here about an app that probably is not super famous, has 21 ratings of what I see here. The brand name is here. The icon is a J, which of course is part of the name. Perhaps having an icon that is more like closer to what the app actually does could help with the conversion rate. Again, I'm always thinking about this view here, which is what the user sees on the phone. You have the icon, you have the title, subtitle, and then the screenshot. So the icon is actually taking a decent amount of space. And, you know, by having something that is a little bit more specific to the feature of the app could make sense. So this is for the icon. Then when it comes to the screenshots, again, this is pretty straightforward, very good. Nice screenshot. I mean, from a graphic perspective, the design is very nice. Before and after kind of makes sense. Totally clear what it does. Now, if we want to be picky, of course, that's also perhaps what we would like to test maybe is to kind of get to be more creative, right? So at the end of the day, it's an app that does photo and video editing. So this looks very much like feature, like very like UI driven screenshots. We could have something that is, or at least test, something that is a little bit more creative, just to see how would that impact the conversion rate. Now, again, I don't have on top of my mind any specific idea of how that more creative could be. But again, this is something that you can get ideas by looking at competitors, by looking at different countries, how similar apps are approaching this the screenshots, and see whether there's an angle that you could test. Because at the end of the day, what you want to do is continuously test, because you're not looking for a big jump, nor from an organic, let's say, visibility perspective or from a conversion rate. It's an incremental change that you're looking at. I mean, of course, sometimes you can get big jumps, but over time, what you're looking at is maybe a 1-2% incremental in conversion rate, which can have, of course, a big impact down the line. Yeah, so it's something that we would definitely propose in a test part. Another couple of things, maybe around the again the top. So there's the CTAs on each screenshot. A little bit, I mean, I don't want to say repeat, like there's like AI headshot for your photo, repeated twice. Again, it's not a biggie, but you know, probably I would definitely focus more on keywords again, just to see, because again, what you want is that people quickly relate to what the app does, and can I quickly gather that, can I quickly grasp that by looking at the creatives, because users don't spend so much time. Again, I don't remember now. This for sure. There's a stats about that, but I don't know how long a user spends on a storefront before deciding to download an app. But again, if you are not Adobe, which is a big brand, if you're just one of the many AI photo editor app out there, you want to make sure that you don't miss a chance to tell the audience what your app is about and what they can do. That's all the point. You have a few seconds to make sure the user doesn't go, no, go back. And then you miss a chance, right? Again, these are small things that should be tested and, of course, taken into account when there are opportunity to, to kind of test and see, okay, what works, what doesn't work, how do users react to such changes. That's I would say that's it. Again, here you have the long description. It's a bit better than what we saw before. It is a little bit more structured. Again, key feature, like very to the point. People can actually quickly understand description. But I would take the same approach of the screenshot, of the description for the screenshot. So because you don't want to miss that that opportunity. Yeah. And that's it for this app, I would say, at least for all the elements that I can see. Any question for the keywords here? We see keywords. No. Any question from the audience or?
No, we don't have any questions for this app. Maybe we can go forward with the next one.
Oh, I saw there's a question. I've App Store algorithm is now scanning screenshots with using OCR and the text in the screenshot make value. Yeah, that's what we were just saying. It's a rumor. We're not 100% sure if that is actually happening. Yeah, we don't know. I think I read, of course, on LinkedIn, checking a little bit what people say. Some people have tested specifically this, and they didn't see any specific impact to the let's say keyword, so to say, visibility. So I don't have an answer for that. I don't know if that is true. I mean, there is the same thing for Android. That's the keyword used on the screenshots actually indexed. But again, it's like for iOS, there is no really a clear point, at least not at this stage. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So the third app that we have is this very nice app, Habit Tracker. I like this type of applications because they are meant for productivity, and I am a very messy guy, so I love this type of apps. But that's enough for me. Let's go into the ASO. Like we were doing for the other apps, what we're looking at right now is the keywords. Yeah, so we want to look at keywords. First thing is the title. The title is actually nice because Habit Tracker is a very good keyword. And then you have simple and powerful. Now, these are two keywords that, of course, combined could be interesting. The problem, at least from what we see, is that these are all together. So the algorithm would not take them as separate from our experience, but rather as one keyword, which at this point in time, unless of course this is used exclusively for conversion rate, like objective, so to say, doesn't really make sense. I would rather focus on something else, or adding something different there in the title. But if we look at the keywords for the specific app, and we look Habit Tracker, yeah, so this is the keyword of the title. You can see that the volume is very high, and the rank is actually very good. So it's sixth. So I mean, it's a very good rank for such a good keyword. So having perhaps a slightly more optimized title could actually be something that could help. I see Igor asking 24 reviews and no responses. Let me check. I haven't checked. I haven't checked the reviews. I have to be honest with you, Hire. But that is indeed a very, very big missed opportunities, because whenever someone's reading a review, it's actually nice to actually drop a note from the developer's perspective. Yeah, because especially if they are good reviews, right? So there's just like, I don't know, but most of them are 5 stars, so it could be nice to interact also with the audience that actually left the review on it. Then let's take a look at this subtitle. Again, we look at subtitle as a second element in the textual metadata that we want to optimize. Right now, it's a list of keywords or a list of words. Yeah, so goal, routine, planners, to do, task. By the way it's written, it looks like this is taken directly from the keyword field because there is no space, whatever. It's like pam, 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 pam. Now, while this might be a strategy from, okay, let's put some keywords in there, it's probably something that, again, doesn't really feel natural. We would probably avoid this approach, um, because it just feels like you are, yes, the stuffing keywords. Yeah, so it's not really something that appears positively from a user perspective. Yeah. I would rather have something maybe that goes around like with a verb, right? So for example, if you have like here, this is how it looks right now. Again, here you see this just like keywords, keywords. I mean, this could be, I don't know, I don't know, plan, routines, and I don't know, track goals or something like this. Again, is exactly the same thing. No, of course it doesn't. It doesn't load, but it's exactly the same thing. But it does look a little bit more natural. You're still using keywords, and by the way, track goals or plan routines. Now I don't know how those keywords are, but let's actually do it live. Let's see how that looks like. Track goals. It's actually not great, but again, I didn't plan this, so but this is something that you can actually play with. Now, again, of course, this is also going to be exactly. It's also going to be pretty bad, but again, as an idea, yeah, right. So what you want to do is to be a little bit more natural, combine it with verb and keyword, so that it just feels natural for the user when they read. And actually, as Igor is saying in the chat. The Apple team can actually push back on this. Yeah. Again, it depends on the reviewer, but why take a chance, right? And also, like, again, you don't want to sound like a bot did your descriptions or whatever, right? So you want to actually engage with your users. Once again, we look at let me check here. We look at the cross localization. It's something that, again, this is, yes, it is localized, but again, if the US is the biggest market, probably we would take advantage of that rather than having it in Spanish. Yeah. Again, I don't know the strategies of the app. I don't know what is the split in terms of downloads, whatever. But US, iOS tends to be the biggest market, tends to be where most of the revenue are generated by the users, by developers, sorry. So I would definitely have, given the status of the app, so that it is not, again, it's not a massive brand. I would probably focus, I would go all into English keywords that would actually push the US storefront. And again, as we were saying earlier, we can actually look at all different localization. Let's pick what Murat was saying before. France. Let's see how it looks like. Let's see if it loads. Again, habit tracker. You're using the same keywords. Missed opportunity. We could use different keywords there. So again, small things. Here we are not taking advantage of cross localization, and it's definitely something that can help with the organic visibility on the US storefront, which is, I guess, where most of the app developers want to get traction. So that's from a keyword perspective, from what we can see, of course. Now let's look at the creative part. Let's take a look at the app icon. I mean, makes sense. Habit tracker, check. Again, doesn't really say much about. Again, yes, it is check in terms of tracker, but probably doesn't really stand out. It's also about the color used. Also in the screenshots, everything is black and white, a bit of gray. It's not really popping out from the screen, right? We have to think that if someone's checking for, again, habit tracker app, sees a lot of app icons, screenshots, black and white on a phone. Again, white background doesn't really stand out. Again, it's just like small things that we would definitely test to see, okay, is there a way to increase conversion rate, CTR, and then conversion rate down the line. If we focus on the screenshots, again, first screenshot, it's not too bad. Everything's under control. Very big. Perhaps we could have keyword like a more specific keywords, also to say like a feature, like something that is immediately kind of I understand what this app is about. Again, this is where the majority of users stop first screenshot. So again, everything is under control, clear. I would probably test something that is a little bit more like feature driven, or like maybe like kind of clear, like this app is about this. Yeah. Another couple of things, again, maybe on the other screenshots, these CTAs are like visible, big, I would say. But what's below it is definitely not readable.
Yeah, too small.
Too small. I mean, it's too small for my 30 inches screen.
Yeah.
I can only imagine on a phone. Definitely not visible. And
No one will see this
no,
small text. Yeah.
no one will click on this, and I was like, oh yeah, yes.
And too many text.
Yeah,
Yeah.
too
I
much
guess. Yeah.
text, too much text for sure, for sure. I mean, I would just leave these, so the bigger part. But again, test maybe something that is more like keyword driven, shorter. Like we want to find good keywords to add here.
And what do you think
Yes.
about the text from the screenshots from the inside the apps? They're also
Yeah,
really small and
yes,
not visible,
I
I
agree.
guess.
I like that they put some thought into it, so you see some features are popping
Yeah.
up. Yeah, so it's not too bad, but it's too big. It's too small.
Yeah.
Sorry, too small.
Yeah.
Definitely too small. I would probably have that. You don't need to have the whole phone into it. You could actually crop the
Yeah.
phone, make it more visible. And again, here the issue is also that everything is white and black. So it's kind of it's tiring to look at it. And it's just like, not good. Yeah. But again, when it comes to these, I would what we usually suggest when it comes to the toppers of the screenshots is to look at high volume or high value keywords and try to add them there. Not because they're necessarily indexed by the algorithm, but because that's what users would search. And then they immediately connect with what the app does, and they don't need to think about it. Right? I don't um, I don't want to say that users don't pay attention, but again, when you have so much competition, especially with the same type of applications, it makes sense to kind of facilitate the work for the users. Yeah.
We have two comments.
Yes.
One of them from Katrina. Maybe use less AI generated text in the title headers. I see the text that
Yeah.
GPT offers to almost all planners.
Yeah. Yes, yes. I mean, unfortunately, this is the reality where we live today. ChatGPT has taken away our brain power. Yes, I would definitely change that as well. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And the screenshot, let's see. Yeah, they do actually. Yes, they have localized. But look at this. I mean, this is in French. I mean, yeah, look how big this is. And again, it's I mean, I'm sure whoever owns this app is not French, but perhaps with the help of ChatGPT in that case, with a good prompt, maybe you can get something shorter, more
Yeah.
punchy, focus on keywords. Again, that's why focusing on keywords makes total sense. Yeah, from
Yes. It's I can count it 7 words.
yeah,
I mean the biggest text, and maybe it's too much for a
I,
screenshot.
I would say so. Yes. Also because
Uh,
again, all the space that is, and again, it's not something that uh something small to consider. But look at this. Look at the space that is taken, right? So this is a big part, and the image is just small, right? So again, it's a combination of two things. And again, this subtitle here is like awful, not clear. Um, Go for, I mean, again, ideally 1 line, 2 lines if that's what you can't if you can't go 1 line, but really like clear, immediate, let's say reaction, so to say, from the user perspective. Yeah. That's for the screenshots. This is the long description. What to say? That's a very short, long description. Once again, it's not indexed, but you might want to have, I mean, we understand it's a minimalist tool, but probably not to be so minimalist also in the description could help because again, you don't know who's going to visit the apps, the storefront. It's a very competitive space also for this type of apps. There are a gazillion of apps that do apparently the same things, right? I'm not a user of this app. I don't know how it differs from other apps that claim to do the same thing. I might check also this. And if it's, if it takes 3 lines to describe a long description of the app, and as Igor was mentioning earlier, no engagement with it, I might go like, okay, let me download another app that looks a little bit like more taking care of whatever they're doing. Yeah. So again, this is something like small things that can help. Like good description should have list of features, show how the app helps user, like um, small things that can actually benefit conversion rate above all. There's a very good question there, Vladislav. Is there any benefit to repeating the same keywords in the app name, subtitle, keyword list, or is it better to use unique keywords in each field? This is a very good point, and we see that a lot of like some developers make this mistake. You need to use the keyword only once, so the term only once. There's no benefit whatsoever in repeating the term multiple times. Absolutely no benefit. So I would definitely go against it. Yeah. Once even for cross lookup. Uh, you mean like repeating the same keywords in cross look? What's the point? Again, what you want to do with cross localization is to actually push the same so the different keywords for the US storefront. And again, there is no combination. So if you add something there and there, so I wouldn't do it. Yeah, to be very honest with you. Yeah.
yeah, and again, thanks for Igor for the the explanation. App Store there doesn't combine the keywords from the different locals. If you use, for example, United States keywords, they don't combine with the Spanish Mexico keywords with this.
Correct. But then again, what you want to do is to combine relevant keywords, right? And it's from our documentation. Okay, I don't know what documentation is that about, but I guess we will check documentation. Thanks, Igor. Cool. And that's it, I would say, for the 3 apps. I've talked for 1 hour almost. Surprised. Any other questions, maybe? Oh, Murat, do you have any questions for me?
Um, I can ask the audience if you have any questions. feel free to ask. And I really want to thanks for all of the questions. And thank you, Luca.